Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday, March 25th, 2026. This is Truth News. I am Walter Bass. It is day 1658 since serial child killer state judge Kelly Hansen of Marietta, California, kidnapped, violently sexually assaulted, and murdered my 7-year-old son that I have not seen or heard from since 2021. Who Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department, 3rd District, told me that Donald J. Trump ate my child, as cannibalism of children in the United States of America is actually happening. It's not a conspiracy. It's not a conspiracy theory, I should say. It is factual. It is documented. And speaking of cannibalism of children, let's give a shout out to our sponsor. The reason we make these shows, the reason we're in this whole mess as a country, that would be right here. Donald J. Trump, the predator in chief, the pedophile in chief, the child rapist, child murderer, terrorist, posing as the United States president representing we the people of America. If you go to McDonald's now, you can get the presidential combo, the McFetus sandwich, which is fried baby flesh between the buns of a fillet of fish, with a large fry and a Diet Coke, for $999.99. That is the presidential combo at McDonald's, the McFetus sandwich. $999.99. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm loving it. And let's give a shout out to another person, the reason I make these videos every day. The serial child rapist, serial child murderer, State Judge Kelly L. Hansen. 16 years of kidnapping, raping, murdering, torturing, and selling stolen American children to the Sinaloa cartel out of Marietta, California, in Riverside County, California. And we all know Riverside County is infamous for selling stolen children around the world. Whether it's Greg Laurie selling children from Harvest Church in Riverside to Romania, or whether it's State Judge Kelly Hansen, aided and abetted by District Attorney Mike Hestron, Sinaloa Sheriff Chad Bianco, selling children to the Sinaloa cartel. I haven't seen or heard from my child since 2021, because this man kidnapped my 7-year-old son, stuck his dick in my 7-year-old son, and murdered my 7-year-old son, according to Capitol Police Intelligence and Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department's 3rd District. This is where we're at as a nation, as a society. We are actually seeing proof of cannibalism of children by the rich, elite, and powerful of the United States of America. 2026 in the United States of America, and the flesh of children are being made into jerky and shipped around our country. As we all know, it's documented. So tonight's show, I have a show written up on intelligence versus memory. It's got some quotes from Albert Einstein. It's because when you study this stuff and do so much research on crimes against humanity, on crimes against children, it's just pure evil. When you consume that much evil, you have to step back, take a break, catch your breath, and refocus on positivity, gratitude, and things like that. Or, I always say this, and I tell everyone, be mindful that when you're fighting monsters, not to become a monster yourself. It's very easy to see all of this evil and throw your hands in the air and say, well, if you can't beat them, join them. Don't ever do that. Don't ever give up your soul. Don't ever give up your integrity. And this is what I've told these people from the beginning. I don't care if this whole country is smoking crack and they tell me crack is high in protein and great for physical function. I would never smoke crack. I don't care if they tell me that they started doing blood transfusions from children into adults to make them live longer. I'm not doing that. I'm not putting someone else's blood in my body unless it's to save my life. And it definitely wouldn't be from a murdered child like they're doing with the adrenochrome, the blood transfusions, the black spot on the back of Trump's hand where he gets blood transfusions from murdered children regularly to try to keep his bag of flesh breathing. That's the truth. So tonight, as I talk about this, which is, they say reality is stranger than fiction sometimes. And I'm a firm believer in that. Reality is definitely stranger than fiction sometimes. So we're going to discuss conspiracies versus conspiracy theories. And we're going to see how, and a lot of these, they go both ways. On one hand, it will be a legitimate conspiracy. But when the people involved are exposed, it suddenly becomes a conspiracy theory. And we're going to go over a few things, and I got this tonight. I was watching Candace Owens today, and she was talking about Alexis Wilkins, the girlfriend of Kash Patel, the honeypot, the Israeli Mossad agent, who was given to Kash Patel to control him, manipulate him, and keep him under their thumb doing what they want him to do. Like not investigating certain things while investigating other things. Like, for instance, not investigating the assassination of Charlie Kirk, or actually investigating Joe Kent resigning for wanting to investigate the assassination of Charlie Kirk. And we're going to discuss these, and we're going to see a pattern how when it benefits them, it's a real conspiracy. When it doesn't benefit them, it is a conspiracy theory. And by them, I'm referring to the satanic occult. The Trumps, the Pete Hegseths, the Pam Bondis, the Kash Patels, the Dan Bonginos. These people are obviously part of a cult. And you cannot go against the cult. Otherwise, you'll be character assassinated. You will be blacklisted. You will be smeared in public. There will be attacks from you all over. Joe Kent, Tucker Carlson, Candace Owens, even Megyn Kelly. If you go against their cult, then it's just ridiculous, the attacks you'll face. So we're going to start with Russia. That was a conspiracy to keep Trump out of office. Remember Russia? It was a hoax. According to Trump, it was a hoax. But according to the other side, the Clintons, it was a conspiracy. So which one is it, a conspiracy or is it a hoax? Is it a conspiracy or is it a conspiracy theory? See, when it benefits them, it's a conspiracy. When it doesn't benefit them, it's a conspiracy theory. So the rigged election in 2020, how long have we been hearing about this? 6 years. At least once a week, every week for 6 years. The election was rigged. There was a conspiracy of people that conspired together to rig the election to keep Trump out of office. That's a conspiracy. Okay, so we establish there are conspiracies. There are groups of people who conspire to commit crimes together. Okay, so we've got that established. There is a conspiracy. January 6th, this is a both sides of the fence one. January 6th, we all saw it happen. A group of people rushed the Capitol, went in the Capitol. We've all seen the video. That was a conspiracy for them to overthrow the government. January 6th was a conspiracy. A large group of people conspired to storm the Capitol to overthrow the government. But when you say there were federal agents in the crowd who encouraged and antagonized people to go into the Capitol, now you're a conspiracy theorist. You see, it's a conspiracy until the intelligence agencies are implicated staging these events, these false flags. Then it becomes a conspiracy theory. So anytime a U.S. citizen whether they have a platform or not, whether they have fame or fortune or whatever, it doesn't matter who it is. I mean, they've attacked me for years, and I'm just a regular guy. I have no fame, I have no fortune, I have no platform. I sit in my room, I make YouTube videos, I work 8 hours a day painting, still got paint on my hands. I work a regular job. I just don't want children raped, murdered, and sold. And because I don't want children raped, murdered, and sold, and I have proven that the state and federal government rape, murder, and sell children, and have been for decades, well, I'm the bad guy and I'm a conspiracy theorist. Despite the evidence and the facts and the legislation all backing up every single thing I say, plus the fact that my son is a victim of a kidnapping, a sexual assault, and a murder by the United States government, and I can't even get his teeth, toenails, fingernails, or hair back from the United States government as retaliation and revenge for telling the truth. So it's okay for them to rape, murder, and sell children. It's not okay for you to oppose it. So, fake news. Fake news. It's a conspiracy that the media conspired together to attack Donald J. Trump and call him out on lies, which if his mouth is moving, he's lying. Caroline Leavitt, if her mouth is moving, she is lying. Kash Patel, if his mouth is moving, this whole regime, Scott Bessent, Pete Hegseth, all of them, every one of them, Howard Lutnick, they're just liars. If their mouth is moving, they're lying. So the fake news is a legitimate conspiracy. How many times have we heard fake news over the last 6 to 10 years? Fake news, it's a group of people in the media conspiring to lie about Donald Trump lying. However, and CNN has been deemed fake news for years by Donald J. Trump. Fake news for years. CNN, fake news. CNN, fake news. CNN, fake news. Which there's a lot of fake news. I give that. Granted, there's a lot of fake news. Most of the mainstream media is part of the kabuki theater. Part of the grand reality show the United States government puts on to convince us that these people are intelligent, they're competent, they're mentally sound and fit, when none of that is true. They are batshit crazy, psychopaths, sociopaths. They are ignorant, incompetent, and all belong in straitjackets and padded rooms somewhere on Epstein Island with no means of getting off that island ever again. These people are a danger and a menace to society. All of them. And they're all in a cult. And we'll get to that. But the fake news, CNN, published a poll yesterday or the day before saying that 100% of Americans agree with Donald Trump waging war on Iran. That's not a war, that's an excursion, that's a military strike, that's a war. We haven't even got to the bottom of what's going on with the war, excursion, military strike. But when they posted the poll that 100% of Americans agree, all of a sudden CNN is real news again. It's real news. It's legitimate. You can trust them. They're reporting the facts. But anytime they say something against him, it's fake news. So it's a conspiracy for fake news. And if you don't believe them, well, you're a conspiracy theorist. Do you see how this pattern forms? The Epstein files. The Epstein files was a conspiracy to keep Trump out of office. That's what he said. He said Michael Wolff and Jeffrey Epstein conspired to keep him out of office with the Epstein files. While at the same time, it was a Democratic hoax. It was all made up. It was all fabricated. So it was a conspiracy against Trump, the Epstein files. The more than 1,000 references to jerky being made out of innocent children's flesh. The torture, rape, murder, abuse, and sale of children for decades, all documented in the Epstein files, is a conspiracy against Trump. And if you believe that, if you don't believe that, if you think that Trump was involved in the raping of Katie Johnson at 13 years old, or the beating of another 13-year-old, or the murder of other children documented by Sheriff's Department, if you think Donald Trump was involved in raping, murdering children, you're a conspiracy theorist. Do you see how they just add that word at the end? It's a conspiracy against me, but if you think I'm involved, then you're a conspiracy theorist. Unbelievable. So, the left-wing lunatics conspired against Trump. Everything they do is a conspiracy against Trump. Everything is a conspiracy against Trump. The entire left, the entire media, everything. Iran, everything is a conspiracy against Trump. But if you think Trump is the problem, if you think he's a psychopath, a sociopath, or a narcissist with dementia that wears a diaper because he can't control his bowel movements, if you think any of that is true, then you're a conspiracy theorist. Iran nuking America was a conspiracy. So Iran was conspiring to build a nuclear weapon and launch it at the United States of America. That was a conspiracy. That was the entire reason we went to war, had an excursion, or military strikes against Iran, because they were conspiring to build a nuclear weapon, launch it at the United States of America. But if you think that Bibi Netanyahu convinced Trump by saying what Marco Rubio said, that Israel was going to strike Iran whether America joined in or not, and Iran was going to retaliate against U.S. bases in the region and kill American soldiers, so the U.S. had no choice but to strike Iran because Israel was going to strike first. That's what Marco Rubio said. It's on camera. It's documented. Marco Rubio said that the reason we went to war with Iran is because Israel was going to strike Iran first and we had no choice. But you're a conspiracy theorist if you believe that Marco Rubio was telling the truth when he said that, versus Donald Trump saying that it was because of nuclear capabilities, it was because of nuclear enrichment, or uranium enrichment, or regime change, whatever story he concocted. So these are all conspiracies. All of these I listed. According to pedophile punk Donald Trump, these are all legitimate conspiracies. Russia, rigged election, January 6th, the fake news, the Epstein files, left-wing lunatics, and Iran nuking America. All conspiracies. Now let's get into conspiracy theories, which some of those went both ways. So, if you think that Charlie Kirk was assassinated with a foreign nation involved, with the United States government involved, and Erica Kirk and Turning Point USA involved, then you're a conspiracy theorist. If you think that Erica Kirk, who took over Charlie Kirk's company, as well as hundreds of millions of dollars, 72 hours after Charlie Kirk was brutally murdered in front of the world, you're a conspiracy theorist. If you can track all of the planes, the meetings at Fort Huachuca, if you got witnesses and nothing is adding up, that they're all saying and they're all lying, and you call them out for lying, then you're a conspiracy theorist. The fact that there was most definitely, without any doubt, a conspiracy to assassinate Charlie Kirk by TPUSA, by Israel, including knowledge of J.D. Vance, Donald Trump, the United States government knew that Charlie Kirk was going to be assassinated. Just like they knew Pearl Harbor was going to be bombed all those years ago, just like they knew the World Trade Centers were going to be attacked, they all knew these things, we all know that, then you're a conspiracy theorist. Somehow or another, they had no clue that the World Trade Centers were going to be attacked. They had no clue Charlie Kirk was going to be assassinated. They had no clue that Pearl Harbor was going to be bombed. But they knew Iran was building nuclear weapons and was going to launch them at the United States of America. Isn't it funny what they know and don't know? Child sex trafficking by the United States government. Whether it's Greg Laurie from Harvest Church to Riverside, from Riverside to Romania, whether it's State Judge Kelly Hansen from Riverside to the Sinaloa cartel, whether it's Erica Kirk from Romania to the United States military, whether it's CPS around the whole country trafficking stolen American children, well, those are all conspiracy theories. That's all conspiracy theories. There's no way a group of rich and powerful people all conspire together to rape, murder, and sell children. And if you believe that, then you're a conspiracy theorist. Despite the legislation, the Safe Family Adoption Act, CPS, confidentiality laws, despite all of these things culminating into the world's largest child sex trafficking country on planet Earth, the United States of America, if you believe the facts and the evidence, well, then you're a conspiracy theorist. You should be listening to Fox News, Jesse Waters, Greg Gutfeld, Caroline Levitt, Pete Hegseth, and Marco Rubio. They'll tell you the truth. If you believe that TPUSA is a satanic cult, well, that's a conspiracy theory. Just because they want their organization in every high school across the country, just because they have been caught trafficking children around the world, just because they are associated with military members running PSYOPs, Pastor Rob McCoy, supposed pastor, I use that term loosely, Rob McCoy, Frank Turek, both naval PSYOPs officers, both former military, posing as pastors, selling, raping, murdering children. Well, if you think they're a cult just because they want to infiltrate every single high school in America so they can push their child sex trafficking agenda and brainwash our children, well, then you're a conspiracy theorist. Despite Sarah Huckabee Sanders and everybody opening the doors to our children, you know, if Charles Manson back in the 60s and the family would have said, we want to spread the family across America. Charles Manson is, you know, he's like Rob McCoy or the great Mikey McCoy, or Charles Manson is, you know, Frank Turek or Erica Kirk. We think Charles Manson should allow all of his family, his cult, we want them in high schools across the country. Back then, everybody would have said, no, you're crazy. We're never going to allow that. Now, we have a much larger cult, more evil than Charles Manson's cult. And Sarah Huckabee Sanders and all types of governors and public officials are just opening the doors to our children and saying, bring your people into the school. Yeah, let's sell these kids. Let's rape these kids. Let's brainwash these kids. Let's abuse these children. Come on into the schools. So, if you think the FBI covers up crimes, well, then you're a conspiracy theorist. Despite the fact that Joe Kent of the Counterterrorism Intelligence wanted to investigate Charlie Kirk's murder, and Kash Patel and the FBI said, no way, you cannot, then you're a conspiracy theorist. If you don't trust Kash Patel, who drinks beer and parties with the Olympic team in Italy, makes a fool of himself, has an Israeli honeypot for a girlfriend, assigns her taxpayer-funded protection, and is a podcaster. Let's be honest. Kash Patel is nothing more than a podcaster. He did the same thing before he was director of the FBI that I'm doing right now. He sat behind a camera and talked. That's it. That's all he did. He sat behind a camera and talked. And now he's director of the FBI. And if you think he's involved in any cover-ups, whether it's the Charlie Kirk assassination or the numerous other the Epstein files, Because after all, Jeffrey Epstein trafficked no one to no one. Remember that? Remember when Senator John Kennedy from Louisiana asked, who did Jeffrey Epstein traffic young women and children to? And Kash Patel said, he trafficked no one to no one. If I had evidence that Jeffrey Epstein trafficked any underage children or girls to anyone, I would have brought a case yesterday. Remember that? He would have brought a case yesterday. It's yesterday. So, if you believe that Israel conducted a genocide in Gaza, you're a conspiracy theorist. Despite the fact that the entire town is leveled, there's no building standing, and they are just murdering children for no reason. Well, you're a conspiracy theorist if you believe your eyes and your ears for what you see and hear from reliable sources. So, this will be the last one. This is an old one, and we all know this is ridiculous. If you believe that the CIA and the intelligence agencies of the United States of America conducted mind control on the U.S. citizens using mass media for propaganda, movies, Hollywood, all infiltrated by the intelligence agencies as part of MK Ultra, drugging and brainwashing American citizens so they could get away with their crimes against humanity, well, you're a conspiracy theorist. You're a conspiracy theorist. And I'm at the 26-minute mark, so we're going to get ready to wrap this up. Basically, anything that the United States government, anything against the United States government is a conspiracy. Whether it's Russia, whether it's Iran, all conspiracies. The left-wing lunatics, these are all conspiracies. Rigged elections, these are legitimate conspiracies, ladies and gentlemen. Groups of people conspiring to bring down Donald Trump and his terrorist regime who's working for a foreign nation without any question. But if you question any of those things, and if you tell the truth, well, you're just a conspiracy theorist. We'll just add the word theorist at the end of conspiracy. So this is where we're at as a nation, as a society. We are in a rapid decline, and we are in a death spiral as a nation, as a society. And I just want to make a point. The Iranian news is trusted more than the American news by the American people. Think about that for a minute. Donald Trump puts out statements about Iran, about negotiations, about ceasefires, about ending this war that's an excursion, that's a military strike, that's not a war, that's a war. And Iran puts out a statement, and everyone believes the Iranian news over the President of the United States of America. Let that sink in. Iran has more credibility with the American people than the President of the United States of America. That's where we're at. So, as always, we're going to finish with a Bible verse. And we're going to go with Ephesians 5. And as always, I read my Bible every day. I read every day, every single day. I pray, I meditate, I work out. I go to work, I come home, I do research, I do these videos. All because the government stole my child, stuck a dick in him, and murdered him. And they won't return his teeth, toenails, fingernails, or hair for closure out of pure spite and revenge. And matter of fact, they threaten me, they terrorize me, they retaliate against me. I've been threatened to be murdered by Oklahoma City Police Detective Brad Cotton. I have been threatened numerous times from Riverside County to Oklahoma City. Even Washington, D.C., it just never ends, you know. And at the end of the day, all I want is my son, my child. That's it. All of this, all of these videos, all of the emails, the federal casework I put in with Ro Khanna, Robert Garcia, Thomas Massey every single day, Sarah Jacobs, Tom Cole, every single day. Hundreds of thousands of emails, hundreds of thousands of phone calls. All so one man, State Judge Kelly Hansen, could stick his dick in my 7-year-old son, And everyone defends that. Everyone in the United States government, every law enforcement agency, every politician, every news agency. I've contacted media outlets across this country to be ignored, mocked, ridiculed, despite all the evidence I have. Court transcripts, photos, documents, legislation. This is where we're at. Raping children is perfectly acceptable. Not wanting children raped in the United States of America is not acceptable. So, let's close as we're at the 30-minute mark. Ephesians 5:1. Therefore be imitators of God as beloved children, and walk in love, just as Christ also loved you and gave himself up for us, an offering and a sacrifice to God as a fragrant aroma. But immorality or any impurity or greed must not even be named among you, as is proper among saints. And there must be no filthiness and silly talk or coarse jesting, which are not fitting, but rather giving of thanks. For this you know with certainty, that no immoral or impure person or covetous man who is an idolater has an inheritance in the kingdom of Christ and God. Now, despite having to do this research and expose this evil every day, despite having to ingest all this evil, which that's what it is, every day I stay grateful. Every day I wake up, first thing I do in the morning, as soon as I wake up, I thank God for my health, for my life, for the blessings I do have, a job, a roof, my dog, my mom, so many blessings, food, and I stay grateful and I stay humble. I don't want to be rich. I don't want to be famous. I don't want any of that. I want my child and I want peace. I want to be left alone. I would hate to be famous. I would hate even more to be rich. I've had money many times in my life. Many times. I've made 6 figures a year. I've had everything. Brand new cars, brand new Harleys, brand new condos. I've had 2-story homes in Pennsylvania. I've lived all over the country, from New York City to California. And I can say honestly that the more money I made, the more unhappy I was. Because the more people wanted from me, and the less people wanted me as a person, the more they wanted what I had. Whether it was money, whether it was food, a ride, whatever the case may be. I have learned after 47 years and seeing the top of the top and not the top. I've never been a millionaire, never been famous, none of that. But I've been on some peaks, some personal peaks, and I've been down in some valleys, way down in the valley. And I can honestly say that money makes no difference. If you have your basic needs met, money just makes life worse. Biggie Smalls was right when he said, "Mo money, mo problems." So I encourage everyone, read your Bible every day. Try to be better people. Always stay grateful. You have so much to be grateful for that you overlook. I'm grateful every day that I can go to the gym and work out. A lot of people don't have that. I'm grateful every day I get to wake up in a bed instead of a car, like the FBI made me do for more than 3 years, live in a car. I'm grateful every day that I have a job to go to. There's so much to be grateful for. And everybody is just so hateful. Most people hate their lives, and they take it out on everybody else. And make no mistake, America is collapsing. As I make this video, America and society is collapsing. So before I get into a rant and go down a tirade, I will close this video. I want to thank everyone for your time, for your attention. Please ask that you like, share, and subscribe to this channel. Share this video. I do have a GoFundMe set up. I will pull up a picture. I'm asking for a laptop and a microphone and an interface so I can show information as I do this podcast. And you can go on GoFundMe, and I will pull it up right now to show you. This is the GoFundMe I've set up. It's a picture of my son. And that is literally, you don't have to send any money. I don't care if you send money. I'll give you my address if you want to send a laptop. If you want to send a gift card to Walmart or wherever so I can get a microphone and an interface and a laptop and start upgrading this podcast. I'm going to keep making these videos for as long as it takes. Until either this country collapses or we get this country back the way it's supposed to be, where we the people have rights, freedoms, and liberties. Our children are not being raped, murdered, and sold, and our public servants aren't lying to us and stealing our money. So thank you everyone for your time and attention. Please like, share, and subscribe. I will see you tomorrow.